So I went out and filled up them salt buckets, as you had seen, and that is the first time that I have run bulk rock salt through my spreader. And I've run it already a couple times, but those couple times have just been with bag salt. So like I'd mentioned in my videos, I have a buddy of mine that has the pile for the bulk salt. That's what you guys see me digging out of. And it's much cheaper for me to do it that way than it is for me to run bag salt. So optimally I make more money when I'm putting it down if I can get the materials cheaper. So that was the way that I was trying to go, and I still will. But I salted a couple parking lots this morning because we've been getting freezing like sleet rain all day, and they're calling for 4 to 6 inches tonight. Well, here's the thing about that is we got about 3 inches already this afternoon. I don't even know what time it is. It's 3:30. So we got about 3 inches this afternoon, and it stopped. But they claim that we're still supposed to get another, that we're still supposed to get like 4 to 6 tonight, is what they claim. So the problem I had was that I salted 2 lots, and then I went and salted, or 3 lots I salted, and everything worked fine. It was coming out great. I had to use the vibrator on the salter because the bulk rock salt just wouldn't go through it the way I wanted it to. It wouldn't shoot out and spread out the way I wanted to, so I had to turn the vibrator on the whole time I was using it, which is no big deal. That's what it's for. And so everything was working fine. Well, I got done with them, and I went to do my church, because the guy that plows my church does not have a salter. And when I went to church this morning with my wife and kids, the whole parking lot was turning to a sheet of ice. So I went down there to salt that real quick. The parking lot's good size. It's not huge, but like I said, I'm getting it dirt cheap to salt, and I had a bunch left over, so I figured I'd go spread some there. I got halfway through the lot, and my spinner stopped spinning, and it kept reading an error code. Now, when we put this salter together and we put it in my truck, the plugs didn't plug into the back of the salter the way that we thought they should be. They just didn't seem nice and tight in there. So the issue with that is that we just put them in there, and then we mounted the wiring harness that goes up to the box tight against my center console, so that the wires wouldn't move, and we thought everything would be okay. Well, when my spinner stopped spinning, it kept beeping at me, the control box throwing an error code. So I shut it down right away. I'm like, something's not right here. And I just went down to my buddy's house, and we pulled the box out of the truck. We pulled the box apart, laid it on his bench, and I figured that maybe there was a short in that box somewhere, or maybe a connection came apart, and we just have to solder it back together or something. Well, we took it apart, and it's perfectly clean in there. It looks brand new. Everything looks good. Nothing's been burnt out. No diodes, no connectors, nothing. It all looks good, but the plug where the 2 plugs plug in the back of the power box, those terminals were a little, like, not corroded, but like they weren't clean at all. So we cleaned them up real good, pumped some dielectric grease in there, plugged it back in, put it back in the truck, and it still was reading an error code. It wasn't working. So we pulled the lid off the hopper and shoveled a bunch of the salt out of the way that was left in there. Now, when you run bulk salt like that sits outside, it has a lot of moisture in it, and it's got that grate in the top of my salter, or in the top of the hopper, so that when you pour salt in there, it'll break up any big chunks. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but the problem is we started digging down, and we realized there were 2 decent sized rocks in there right on the spinner, and they were jamming up my spinner. So that salt pile had some rock in there, and that was the problem. So we cleared that all out, and we flicked the power back on, turned the spinner back up, and it started spinning perfectly fine, throwing salt just the way it should be. So that's something I'm definitely going to have to consider and take into account, is that that may be an issue. I'm going to have to watch running the bulk salt through there instead of filling that hopper up all the way, since I didn't use that much of it to do them lots. I used far less than I thought I would. I'm either going to have to put in just enough that I know I can get through my lots, maybe with a slight bit extra, and then I'll just burst it at the end to dump out that hopper, so that bulk salt isn't sitting in there, because for the 15-minute ride from the last lot I did down to the other one, and it's kind of cold outside, that moisture must have just clumped some of that salt up. But at the same time, there was a couple big chunks of salt in there, but the vibrator breaks those up. It was more of those rocks, which is really nothing I can do about that. So I guess I'll just have to be more careful when I'm loading it up, make sure there's no rocks in there that can do that. Or I'm just going to have to run bag salt, which costs more, but bag salt is dry, and when I pour it in that hopper, it's dry and doesn't have all that moisture in it, so I won't have to worry about that either. I won't have to worry about it clumping up like that. But with bag salt, I definitely don't have to worry about there being rocks in there. So, a couple things to consider. Still a learning curve for me. I've run a lot of salters in the past working for other people, but those were like big hopper salters. None of them were tailgate salters. So it's a little different for me. It's a learning curve, and I'm learning as I go along here. But so I guess that's just something more you learn as you go along. So anyway, now it dropped. I didn't think I was going to go out plowing until tonight when we got that snow, but it seems like we've gotten a whole bunch already. Not a whole bunch, but 3 inches, and it's heavy, wet, slushy, nasty stuff. So I'm going to go through the whole list and plow everything now, and then when I'm done with that, I'll go home and I'll wake up in the middle of the night. If we get all that snow that they're talking about, I'll go out again, which is good for me because as you guys know, if you've been following along in my winter vlog series, you'll know that I haven't had really any snow to plow. I've only been out a couple of times, so it'll be nice to get some billing for this month on this plowing. So I guess we'll just go from here and do what we can do and see what happens next. See how much snow we actually get tonight, if we actually get it, and we'll find out. So yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna plow this driveway out real quick, and then I am going to head on to the next one. We'll see how much I usually when I plow, it's usually parking lots that I film in. You guys usually don't see me plow the driveways, so I will I'll let you guys see a few of these so you can see what I got going on here, and I guess it's just something different than what you normally see in my plowing videos. I'm gonna try to set the camera up on the tripod to get you a little different view, so stick with me and don't shoot me if that part doesn't happen in this video, but I'm hoping that it will, so we'll see what we can do. Just finish cleaning this one up. This guy here goes to my church. I was talking to him this morning. He goes, "I guess I'm going to be seeing your truck later." I said, yeah, it looks like you are. So he just needs like the main idea of it cleared up. We don't really get too far over in that one side. But it's funny, I don't know if you guys can see that over to the right, that wooden fence that's right there. The guy that used to plow this, he pushed snow into that last year and knocked the whole fence right over. So what he did in the springtime is he came back and he pushed the fence back up, and he drove a piece of rebar down into the ground, and he wrapped electrical tape around the rebar in the fence, and he considered that fixed. So hacks don't just happen with snow plowing. It happens with or don't just happen with mowing, guys. It happens with snow plowing too. So, happens everywhere. Well, I just plowed through the whole list except for the apartments that I plow. I didn't plow them, there was about an inch there. But I got all the slushy stuff up from all my driveways and all the lots except for them apartment ones. Like I said, there was barely an inch there from when I ran the salt through it then. I salted the entrances real heavy of the one parking lot that I do. I scraped that whole lot right down and then I salted the entrances heavy. I hit it on blast. That way the entrances should stay pretty clean. And I wanted to burn up the rest of that salt I had in the hopper. That came out perfectly fine. And then, sorry about my radio. That came out perfectly fine. No issues, no clogs, no nothing. And then I went over to the apartments and I salted all of the apartments. The two lots that I do. And the rest of the salt came out fine there. So I went back to the salt pile and I filled the 4 buckets back up again. Capped the lids on them and put them in the back of the truck. I did not put anything in the hopper. So we'll see what happens. It's definitely snowing again. It's been heavy, light, back and forth. So I know I'll have to go back out again tonight to scrape these lots down at least. I may have to do the driveways again if we get all this snow. Sorry I didn't film anything tripod wise. There was really nothing. My plan was to film in that one parking lot. But there was really nothing there to plow. It was like maybe an inch. So it wasn't really worth getting out, setting up the tripod and all that just to film that. Like I said, I filled them 4 buckets up, so what I'm going to do is after I go back out tonight and I scrape those lots down, I'm going to salt the lots really good. If I do have any problems, I have 8 bags of magic melt in the bed of my truck. So if I do run into a problem with that bulk rock salt again, I can always just clean the clog out if it does clog up and then put that bag salt in there. That bag stuff, that won't clog up at all. It has no moisture in it. There's definitely no rocks in it like I mentioned before. So we'll see what happens, but at least I'm covered. I made sure that I left myself a plan B, so to speak. I left myself an out. So if anything does happen, I can still finish the job and get paid for it. So we'll see what happens. Sorry, nothing on the tripod, guys. I definitely will be going back out again later tonight, so I'm sure I will film that as well. And we'll see what happens there, if I can get some better footage. But either way, I'll get a video of that, and I'll probably get that put up sometime tomorrow. But that'll be it for this one. Thanks for staying with me, guys. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to share. Please share my videos. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. This channel is all about fun. So subscribe and you'll see more. Thanks, guys. I'm out.